When looking at the Wicklow Mountains, what we think of is of a hard rock that took millions of years to become this beautiful vista, just as with all rock. But actually, nature is not always that predictable. In 2018, beside the Blessington Lakes, Ranger Andrea Webb discovered what she thought was a deposit of a strange type of rock formed in a far shorter human lifetime. It's called tufa.
So just here now, you can see it very clearly. Just the white deposit of the calcium carbonate on the tufa, and what the moss is actually, it's actually a building structure. So the tufa is being deposited on the moss, and it's just kind of building up on it. And then you can see the equisite on there, the horsetail. So that's one of the things that likes to grow in with the tufa. So.
Tufa is an unusual type of almost organic stone, formed when water made acid by running over granite rock, then runs into a load of lime, in this case limestone gravel under the hill. And then that water seeps out as a spring and in contact with air deposits calcium carbonate as a white substance over the mosses that grow around the spring mouth.
It's interesting because it's a mixture of chemistry connecting with sort of living organisms and creating this small little deposit of calcium carbonate on the surface outside. And you can have really interesting and rare both plants and invertebrates and crustaceans living in this habitat.
Professor Peter Coxon of Trinity College, an expert in tufa in Ireland, has come out to look at this unknown deposit site that was uncovered by Andrea.
There must be a spring line along the foot of that little slope there. Yeah. The spring water's coming out, and that's where this stuff is forming. It's really nice. I have to try and grab a piece of it from somewhere if it's exposed a bit better. It's quite well exposed here. Yeah. That's very nice there. You can see it in its entirety there. It's lovely. You can see the moss fossilised there. But you can see just how hard it gets. Yeah. It's all made up of this. You can see that there's the roots of the mosses in amongst it. There's bits of sand in amongst it, but it's mostly made up of plant remains. Mostly made up of these mosses, but it's like a small rock. I mean, when that dries out, that'll be really hard.
What's really nice about it is that you have a mixture of geology and biology coming together, and it's like the one I had read somewhere. It's like a living rock.
Yeah, it's a rock formed by living things. Yeah, like a lot of rocks, a lot of sedimentary rocks formed, as you know, formed by living things. And people have put rulers, measuring sticks, into this material, and it forms in centimetres a year. But there could be material down here that's 11,500 years old, and there could be a continuous record of that because it builds up in different places.
Because tufa petrifies everything that gets in its way, it becomes a natural time capsule.
In Clondalkin, we got the teeth of the wood mouse, and we got radiocarbon date on some of the material there in one of these tufas, and these teeth were 7,500 years old. So they show us the native status of the species. They show us exactly what the landscape looked like at the time. It was very wooded, but there were people around. There were people around making small flint flakes and tools and burning the vegetation. We find charcoal layers inside these tufas, so they were living on them and around them. I think of them as common, but you think we've been looking for them since 1980 and only found 6. That's not common, really. So you're right, it's not that common. But to actually see it and notice it, for someone to notice it is less common. But it's fascinating to see it here, it really is.
This is a nice find because we didn't know about it, and yeah, it adds another feature to the Blessington Lakes. I mean, there's lots of lovely little things that are here, so this is just another little gem, I think.
So maybe next year along the Blessington Greenway, there may be an information board that tells all who take the time to read a story that shows that nature is a diverse, odd, but living, fascinating thing that needs to be preserved for generations to come.